Welcome, everyone, to the Olsen Angle. I'm your host, TJ, and today we've got a special guest, Jalin Conyers, tight end there for the Arizona State Sun Devils. We are bringing him here to kind of get to know a little bit about Jalen there as a person. Again, one of the top-rated recruits back there in the 2020 class here. Hey, Jalen, how are you, man? How was Tempe there for you?
I'm good. How are you? Tempe, great. Just getting acclimated to my situation, everything, getting used to everything. So I love it and enjoying it.
Yeah, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. I mean, Jalen, I guess the biggest question, on everybody's mind is what made you choose the Arizona State?
More than anything, just going like when I got in the transfer portal, just trying to figure out like where I was going to go and what was going to be best for me. Talked to my coach, mine now coach, Coach Brenneman. He just called me when I got in the portal and just kind of made me feel really comfortable really quickly, like with my situation and like talking about and just being honest with me, regardless of anything. Like not gonna feed me a bunch of stuff that I wanted to hear, and just told me straight up. And I appreciated that. And just when it came down to it, this was gonna be the best spot for me, and that's why I chose it. I mean, great area, great football team, and a great academic. So.
Yeah, I was about to say I was always one of those guys too there, Jalen. I was never a big fan on someone blowing smoke up my ass or pissing on me and telling me it's raining. Shoot me straight, tell me exactly what's going on there. You get a lot of that there. I mean, did you get a lot of that through the original recruiting process where you kind of had that, you had to decipher whether someone's being actually honest and real with you?
Every once in a while, yeah, you kind of gotta ask around or just kind of look at yourself like, is that really going to be the case? Because I mean, sometimes you just gotta be realistic with like your situation. Because I mean, there are guys that they're bringing in that are just like you or just as good as you. I mean, D1 football, there's a dime a dozen guys that kind of like us. So I mean, you kind of have to figure out who's being real, and if there was crap being said, you have to figure it out. But there's a little bit, but not too much. I mean, most coaches are pretty straightforward and pretty honest about it, but every once in a while there's a little bit, but it's a part of the recruiting process. So
Yeah, I mean, since you moved here, what has been, I guess, the best part about being at Arizona State so far, on the field and off the field for you so far?
Shoot, on the field, I definitely have to say, just like the experience I've had with the coaching staff there, they have we have a very experienced coaching staff, like Coach Herm Edwards, Coach Antonio Pierce, guys like that, but also like young guys like Coach Trey Anderson and Coach Brennan, like young guys like that, just to kind of like balance it out and getting used to the culture and everything like that. And, I mean, we're playing for a coach that played in the NFL and is coached for many years, so just get like so much experience. And then off the field, everyone's so nice down here. And honestly, I can't lie, the weather is so amazing down here all the time. Like, I mean, when they seriously say it's always sunny in Tempe, it really is. It's always sunny here, and I love it. So it's been awesome so far.
I was about to say the no humidity, I'm sure, is a big difference
Yeah.
for you too.
Yeah. Being from Texas, I mean, it's a lot different, but I like it a lot.
Well, I guess that kind of annex and moves me there to the next question too. You talk about, what type of culture do they have there at Arizona State? I know you are getting acclimated and everything like that. What is a culture? What type of goals do you guys have for yourself, not only personally, but also for the team this upcoming season?
For me personally, my goal is to just go in and contribute however I can. I mean, coming in as a guy that hasn't played a snap yet, but like came in as a big recruit and hasn't played a snap yet. I mean, I'm trying to come in like and just kind of show like, hey, like I'm the same guy. Like I'm just kind of show that I'm the same guy that got recruited, and just kind of play with a chip on my shoulder. Like, I mean, because of me personally, I feel like I do have something to prove to a lot of people. Because just coming from a small town, like you said, like when you first talked about me, like I mean, I'm coming from a town where there's like barely anybody around big any D1 star recruits like that. So I mean, coming in like I'm just kind of coming to show like I'm just as good as everyone else, whether you're from the Dallas area or you're from one of the little towns in Texas. That there's talent everywhere as long as you just put in work. And as a team, I mean, obviously our goal is to make a college football playoff. I think this team this year is going to be very dangerous. Jaden coming in, like I mean, he is slinging that thing, and then after with a pretty young receiving core, like we're pretty experienced now. And I mean, I just think everywhere in our defense is just lights out. So I think we're going to be solid this year, and I think for sure, like I want to go, I want to pack those championship, I want a Rose Bowl, and I want a college football playoff appearance, and that's what everybody on the team wants to be working butts off to prepare for that. So it's been good, and we're ready for sure.
For certain. I mean, you mentioned a few different things I kind of want to comment on there, but I guess You kind of answered it already, but I just kind of want to get clarification. What really motivates you? I know playing with that chip on your shoulder, feeling like, hey, I'm a guy who came from a small town. I already have that knock against me. People used to use that knock against me. Well, what
Yeah.
really does motivate you, not only on the field, but off the field, to be successful in that capacity?
Right. Well, I mean, like I said in high school, I mean, being from a small town, I mean, I got told all the time I was always going to be that kid that was amazing in high school, but like couldn't really go anywhere because he's from a small town. He can't really do anything. So like, I mean, for me, I just kind of took it personal. Like, I mean, my dreams ever since I was little. I mean, you can ask my mom, my dad was to play NFL or play in the NBA. That was and like if you ask anybody, like that's what I told them I was going to do. I don't tell anybody like, hey, I'm gonna go be a writer or actor or anything like that. I'm set on football or
Yeah.
basketball. And going into high school, like when I hit about the end of my sophomore year, and I was waiting to get recruited. I was looking for like what I was gonna have to like be like, and everyone was like, bro, like it's gonna be really hard to go D1 like when you're from this small town. And I went to every camp I could. I went to I did everything I possibly could to just try to get noticed. And I mean, well, I mean, you just find out like if you have the talent and you work hard, like regardless of where you are, you're gonna get noticed. And like that was for me. Like I mean, we went to the state championship football game and got beat 70 to I can't even remember. It was terrible, 70 to like 30. But I mean, I had a really good game. I mean, a bunch of coaches called me after that. And was like, "Where you come from?" I was like, "I mean, I've been here. It's just kind of hard to get out to, but." And like I mean, every college coach that came into my town would be like, "Where is this? Like, where am I?" It was like just funny, but that was just the biggest thing. Like my mom and dad had a big influence. Just always keeping me and I got to thank them for everything. Just like because I know how expensive these camps are and how expensive all that stuff
Yeah.
was going in. Like at the time, obviously I didn't know, but like afterwards, like know how much time and effort they had to put in to get me to where I'm at was like it's amazing. So like I owe a lot of it to them. But like now, just like my chip on my shoulders. Like I mean, I went to OU and I got used to everything. And like I no knocks on OU at all. OU is an amazing football program, an amazing program in general. Just how it worked out. There wasn't necessarily the right place for me. And a lot of guys like, he's transferring because he didn't play because he wasn't good enough. Blah blah blah. And like I'm kind of just coming in now like show I am good enough. It just wasn't necessarily the right situation.
I think that's good introspective you have there talking about the sacrifices your parents made. And again, like when I was young, I went through it. Like I always thought I was a lot better than I was as a player. That's just the chip on the shoulder I always had. And again, I never really understood the sacrifices my parents put forward
Yeah.
for me until really after the fact, after college there and after professional there a little bit. I never really understood the sacrifices they put in for me. The fact that you've got the introspective there already to say, I understand the magnitude of what they had to sacrifice in order to put me in a position to be successful, hugely important. Talking about what you're going here through spring ball and everything like that, what's your main focal point as to what you're trying to improve with your game as of right now?
Shoot. Right now, definitely speed and blocking. I've always been like very long and lengthy. So like always like when I'm running, like I always use my stride to my advantage. But of course, going up to D1 level, everybody's fast, everybody's different, everybody's got to play their strength. And I mean, my strength's always been like I'm pretty fast for my size, but I'd love to get faster because overall, like going on to the next level after this, I'm gonna have to be faster. And of course, like for me, my biggest one is blocking, most likely, just because like. In high school, I played a lot of receiver and quarterback, so like I mean, I really never had to worry about blocking. I was always the guy that usually got blocked for usually.
Yeah.
So like going into being a tight end, like a true tight end now, even at OU, I was a little bit of an inside receiver more than tight end for the first year. So like just now, like having to like learn run schemes and like who to block and how to block properly. Just a lot of that's going to be very important for me to learn because that's in the NFL. They don't want a one-dimensional player. They want everything you can do everything at a really high level. So that's my goals going in, just to work on those two things, and of course get stronger. That's always going to be a goal for me, is to get stronger. But
For certain. I always thought to myself, again, quarterbacks have to know a lot of the plays. That was an old offensive lineman. But tight ends, man to man, you talk about the different footwork you have to understand and know there for not only exploding off the line of scrimmage there for a route you're running or what you're doing there blocking, run blocking wise. If you're thinking run blocking, what you're trying to improve on, what are you working on most there? Reach blocking, down blocking, doubles. I mean, what's the biggest point there for you? Focus and emphasis on.
I mean, and like to be honest, it's a lot of it because I mean, just like with the kind of offense we're running here, which is really like a true pro style offense. You got to learn every concept. Like I mean, counters, dives, inside zones, stuff like that. I mean, just there's so many different blocking schemes. I would say like more to me is like down blocking and it being able to get to the second level for me like is going to be very important because a lot of the times I will have to block a linebacker or a DN, which are like very fast, very strong dudes.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I'll have to worry about the 300-pound D tackles, but I got the 280, 290 guys that run a 4.6. So I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like I mean, just working on getting the right technique, getting your hands in the right spot, just trying to figure out like. And like what our Coach B says is, I mean, a lot of the times, like you don't have to be necessarily blocking him driving down the field. You got to get in his way and give your quarterback time to make a play, make the throw, or set up the hole for the running back. So
For certain. Again, the more you're in there, the more comfortable you get
yeah,
there with
for
your
sure.
hand down a 3-point stance. That's nothing really to worry about. Now, what is the biggest lesson you've learned throughout your first year? I mean, first year college experience, what's the biggest lesson you've learned?
First, my biggest lesson I'd probably say is just like I would say like this like playing college football is like a job. Like it really truly is like what a lot of people don't realize is like we're getting up at 6 in the morning to go to workouts and we're at the facilities till like 12 and then after that it's straight to class. Like we're coming back and we're not sitting on our butts like not doing anything. We're going to class till about 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And then it's dinner and you gotta get bed like right away because you gotta go you got work out in the morning. You can't stay up late, you can't go out and do stuff. And that's what like a lot of people like will ask me like, oh, like how are parties, how are this, how are that, blah blah blah. And it's like a lot of times you don't have time. Like you never usually have time. And like because you're always like by the time it's 10 o'clock at night, you're like exhausted from practice, homework, and practice school, and then homework. Like I mean, and just like it's so like for a while it was like I just had to get so used to it because in high school, I mean, it's the same thing, but you can go home afterwards and you're with your family and it's just like nothing is normal. Here, it's like you're by yourself. You've got to have that mindset, like, hey, I have to do homework. I have to do this. You don't have anybody sitting here telling you like you don't have your mom sitting here telling you, hey, go do your homework. Like it's got to be
Yeah.
you. Like you gotta have like what's a good word? Self. Yeah, I mean you gotta have like good self control. Just like no, like hey, I got to do my stuff. And so that was probably the biggest lesson for me is just getting used to that. But like just everything in general, being in college is way different. So like, but I love it. I love every second of it so far. So
You talk about those personal responsibilities. I always thought when I jumped in, one of the first things I learned is the 5 B's you have to make sure you focus on when you go to school: Bible, football, the boys, the books, and the ladies. So those are the 5 right there. You had to always take care of and always had to focus on. Those are. It's always like a balancing act between those 5
yeah,
for certain.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you. It definitely is. You're right. You hit a point there. You talk about how it's changed there from a full-time job. I mean, what does your schedule look like there on a day-to-day basis? I know spring ball, usually they try to lean off you guys a little bit there. You get a little bit more free time yourself. But I mean, what does the schedule look like for you now?
Right now with the weight right now spring football starts in March, so right now it's got more of just weight and conditioning. Usually, so my workout usually have COVID testing around like 7:20, 7:30. Some people it depends on what time you have. Then we start workouts right now starting at 8. Workout at 8. We're workout from 8 to 10, and then condition right after that, and then it's to the locker room. You get treatment. You can meet with coaches if you need to meet with coaches, which I usually meet with my coach after I do weights and workouts, and then lunch, and then I'll go home or I'll go back to my place, like where I stay, U house, and I'll go getting ready for class. I have about an hour till class starts. And I'll do my classes and it's straight homework till about 4 or 5. Class and homework till about 4 or 5, and then it's dinner. And usually after that, I'm either in bed sleeping, get ready to sleep, or I'll go hang out with one of my friends or boys or something like that, just hang out for a little bit, and then I'll go to sleep. I mean, it's like a tight schedule. Like I try to stick to it as best I can. Try not to throw like random stuff in there, but every once in a while that always happens. But I have
Yeah.
a, but I mean, it's a busy schedule. I mean, it's literally a work schedule. Like it's something that like an adult would do and be like, this is a full-time job. So
Yeah, for certain. I just also want to mention again, if anybody's here on the live stream, if you do have questions for Jalen, just go ahead and leave it in the comment section. We'll make sure to go ahead and show those up. You talk about that. Now, are you personally a guy who does enjoy more of a regiment where you perform better, where it's like, hey, I've got to do something by XYZ time period, or do you kind of like better having that free time for yourself? I was always a guy who had to
yeah.
have that type of like everything layered and structured for me. Otherwise, I was just going to get too lazy.
My camera shut up. Yeah, I'm a person that like I like definitely like to have free time by myself. like if I have time for it, just kind of like either chillax or call my parents or just kind of relax and do my own thing. But most of the time I do like a layer schedule. Like I'm like, all right, I have to do this at this time. I have to do this. Like I'm like very like OCD about kind of stuff. So like if I have class of one, I'm like, all right, I have class of one and no one mess with me, like bomb class and stuff like that. Or like I'll be like, I'm gonna go eat dinner at like 7 o'clock, and everyone's like, oh, let's go eat dinner like at 6, 8. I'm like, no, I'm eating at 7 because I have like a time schedule. So like I wouldn't say I'm like over like like over crazy about schedule, but like I do like to have stuff in order that way I can just keep on track and stuff like that.
Yeah, for certain. I do understand that. That's exactly how I was. And again, what would you have to probably say were the biggest interests you would have outside of football? And again, like, for football players, especially at big time programs, you get painted in this, hey, you're just a football player type of brush. Everybody only sees you on Saturdays, and that's the only time they know you. They'll yell at you on the field. They'll say you're doing well. They'll give you criticism, etc. They only know you when you're on the field. What type of interest do you have off the field, Jalen?
Off the field, I definitely I like going to play basketball a lot with just whoever, just messing around. Basketball was honestly the first sport I ever fell in love with. Like basketball was my first sport, so I love playing that all the time. And then just trying to get built, like get ready to like if of course football doesn't last forever, you got to get ready to do something else. My major in school is journalism, so I just preparing to be like a sports analyst or a sports commentator, anything around those lines. And other than that, I like hanging out with friends. I cook all the time. I go cook for my food all the time. Just little stuff like that. Just like none too big or like crazy, but I love golfing. Actually, I go do golf. I go golf all the time. But other than that, I usually just hang out with friends and just honestly I watch football all day, every day. So.
I was one of those guys too, with sports, anything and everything,
Yeah.
schoolwork and classwork. I wish I probably, in retrospect, probably put a little more effort in. I was able to get by without having to put too much work in. I definitely wished I would have done that a little differently, though.
Yeah.
And again, like I know you kind of mentioned about the team goals you have for yourself, as you kind of progress and what you see as your career there and your future here at Arizona State, when you're able to look back, even 3, maybe 2, 3, 4 years from now, what do you want to be able to say that you've accomplished individually as well as what you've accomplished there as a team?
For sure, like I'd like my ultimate goal is to become a team captain at some point. That's always been a goal of mine, like to be able to have the privilege of wear the C on your chest. I feel like I think that's like a huge thing. And honestly, just a guy that can look back and be like, that worked his butt off all the time to get where he's at. Because I mean, like I said, I grew up in a small town and I've been working my butt to get here to this point. And like now that I'm here, I'm not done. I don't want to stop. Just someone that worked his tail off and made a huge impact at his school. Like ultimately my goal is to be one of those guys that's in the hall of fame for the school and all that kind of stuff, has tons of awards, stuff like that. But ultimately, I do want to be able to say, hey, we went to the college football playoff 3 times out of the 4 years I was here, or we won the Rose Bowl 3 out of the 4 years. Like to me, like I know obviously I want goals for myself, like deep, but they're like dig down over the top. The team stuff's up here and the player stuff's down there. So like just team wise, I want to be able to say I made it to a college football playoff. I want to be able to say we won a national championship, like anything like that. Just I want to be that team that everyone was like, holy crap, like that team was amazing, and like no one expected it to be like I said, like all the OUs and the Floridas and the LSUs, like that's expected from them. Coming to ASU, it's not necessarily expected. Oregon's the top dog in the Pac-12. I want to be able to say, hey, we went to the Pac-12 championship and we beat Oregon like 4 years in a row. Like I want to be that. I want to be that team that was like everyone was like, who is this? Like, where did this come from? So that's what I'm looking for.
I was about to say, and Herm Edwards really is turning that program into the right direction. I don't think you'll see anybody who disagree with that. And now, I guess another question: has the hatred for the Arizona Wildcats, has that sunk in yet, or are you still building up the hatred for them?
I've got a little bit of it. I haven't experienced it firsthand, but I've definitely heard about it. After I heard, the 70-7 win Arizona had over last year. I know I heard I've met a couple people that are from Arizona, and like they'll kind of like I'll be like, oh, okay, you're from U of A, and I'm like, you met a person from U of A? That's disgusting. Like it's so funny. It's literally like OU Texas. Like it's just like the same thing. So it's kind of funny. But it hasn't got fully yet, but I'm sure it will. I'm sure on game day, I'll be up in someone's face talking. So.
And now, if we're looking at what type of retrospective or any type of advice you have there for a young recruit, and again, because young people do listen to this, you're going through in the same situation you were when you're a recruit, what type of advice do you have for them there at home, through the process you went through? What type of advice would you have, if any, for them?
Well, shoot, I mean, I would just say work hard. I mean, like I said, regardless of where you're at or like where you're from or what like level you're looking to go to, if you have the talent and you're willing to work hard and like work your butt off to get there, like you'll get noticed. Like I said, like when I was genuinely went into my junior year, I genuinely was like getting a little nervous about stuff like, okay, maybe I won't get seen. Like, what do I have to prepare for? Like looking to like possibly go to a small school and then work my way up, and then like I mean, just happened to be like we went to state championship and we got destroyed, and that became big news. But also big news was, oh, this kid like had like 4 touchdowns for him, but they got beat. But that's what I'm saying. Like even in situations you don't think anything's going to come out of it, like it does. And I mean, like for me, like just like genuinely speaking, once you get that first offer, it's like okay, stuff starts getting rolling a little bit because obviously one team sees something, another one's going to see something, and another one's going to see something. Like that was for me. Like when I got my first offer, I was like, oh man, like I was like, like okay, cool, I got one offer. Like, and I mean, the coaches even told me like, hey, you're about to have like 20. Like, be careful, be ready. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like I didn't really believe it. And of course, like the next day I had 3. Then after that I had 4, and then 3, and like it just was nonstop. And it was just like so cool. And like for me being a little kid, like I always looked up to like players in high school and like the players in college, like guys I looked up to. And I just like I was one of those kids that would go look up their workouts on YouTube and like act like I was doing it, or go outside and just act like I was in like. And that was honestly what like kind of made me like do some of the things I do, like me personally, like stiff arm. That's like everyone tells me it's my go-to because I really, it really is. But like and like one of the first people I ever saw use it was guys like Tony Gonzalez and Earl Campbell, like guys like that, and just like I mean Bo Jackson, like putting their hand just in their face and taking the ground. And I always like would act like I was stiffing someone when I was little, and then obviously I got up to football and here now, and it became like my thing, and everyone called it the Jalen stiff arm. So like it's pretty cool, like to just like be able to say like that was happening now. But like that's what I'm saying, like just look up to the guys that you look up to, and I mean just like don't be afraid to work hard. And like even if people like make fun of you, like oh you're from a small town, you're not going to make it, or you're from this and that, let that motivate you, and like turn it into something.
For certain, I think you definitely speak a testament to that. I mean, how easy has it been to get acclimated there to Arizona State? Has everybody been warm and welcoming? Kind of how has that transition process been there for you?
Yeah, it's been nice. I mean, I got in the locker room the first day, kind of met everybody. I mean, everyone was like, "Oh, where are you from?" Blah blah blah. Like, kind of telling them I was a transfer from OU. Kind of like people as everyone get used to it. And I mean, within the first day, I was in the team group chat and like mixing it up with everybody and kind of just learning everybody, getting to know the names. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't learned everybody yet. I don't know everybody yet, but kind of just
I don't think
talking to
you ever
guys.
will get to know
Yeah,
anybody. I don't think you
you're
ever
right.
will know everybody on the team.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And like, just kind of get used to meeting everybody and like seeing what they're about, and that kind of ask me questions, figuring out about people. So like, as I was saying, like I have a ton of good friends on the team now. It's pretty easy. Like they welcome me with open arms, and like that's what I love about this school so far. Like even whether it's on the football field or the coaches or like the students you meet in your class, like everybody's pretty warm and welcoming. So
Who is the Joker on the team? Have you already identified who the
ooh,
class clown is there on the team yet?
the Joker on the team, man. I would have to say. Man, that's a tough one. Who would I say is a joker on the team? I don't know. I think LD. LD's pretty funny. Finn Collins is hilarious. That's one of my really good friends. He's hilarious. And man, who else? One of my friends. He's a quarterback too. His name's Ethan Long. He's pretty funny. So I'm still getting used to everybody. Everyone kind of thinks I'm pretty funny too because I'm from Texas. So I say y'all and all kinds of stuff like that. So they like, make fun of me a little bit, but it's just all jokes. But yeah, I mean I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm definitely gonna have to soon because I just gotta find the guy that gets made fun of the most, and everybody's like, oh, he's the class clown, blah blah blah. So It's pretty funny, but yeah.
Now, what has been the craziest thing a coach has ever told you? And again, make sure not to use names on this. Like, I'll use an example. We once had a coach come in. He used to throw trash cans around. The day one he walked in, he was a strength conditioning coach there for us. He wasn't like originally thrust into the role there, but he said, "We're never going to do bench press because how often are you going to lay on your back and push somebody off?" And me being a lineman, I'm like, that's all I do. So again, what is the craziest or stupidest thing that you've had a coach there tell you throughout your time? And again, high school, college, middle school, doesn't matter.
Man, craziest.
Craziest.
Craziest, probably, man, that's tough. Actually, craziest. Probably, probably just the craziest, like weirdest was, oh yeah, I think one time we're doing bench and at one time and I was repping out and I would like, I think we are supposed to do 10 reps or something. I ended up doing like 12 or 13 or something like that. And I got chewed, like, got my butt chewed, like, we said 10 reps, like, don't do more, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? Like, I did more. I was like, if I would have done less, I understand that, like, getting my butt chewed. But I was like, I did more. Like, I wasn't even trying to. I was like, he said, just do your thing, read your paper, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, yeah, sorry about that, I guess. Like, no extra
I'll
work
tell
for
you,
me.
they want conformity on all levels. I remember when I was as a true freshman, I walked on field. I failed. I'm a big guy. I failed the conditioning test. Whatever happens, and they were going ahead and making us line up there afterwards for additional conditioning for the group of people who had failed. I was like, I don't know why. It's really dumb. It makes me almost cringe, get goosebumps thinking about it. Like, rip your pads off. I'm gonna do it with my pads on to set myself like some stupid stuff like that. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, oh God, as like coaches did not like that at all. They just want conformity.
Yeah.
Now, when did you come to the determination that, hey, football is it instead of basketball?
Oh, honestly, if I could be honest about the answer, I'd say like when I was still thinking about basketball. And then when I started getting the Ohio State offers and the Michigan offers, and Alabama was calling me, and Clemson was calling me, and all those guys were calling me, all the bigger schools at OU, and I was like, man, like I really might have to rethink this because my intention was, hey, if I ever get full offers, that's amazing. I have a backup plan, but I want to go play basketball. And when I had basketball offers too, which I was like, okay, like I had an idea of like what I wanted to do. I was like, man, like what do I do? And I kind of talked to my mom and dad, and I was kind of like, all right, what situation? Like, what am I looking at? And like for me, it was ultimately about going to the next level. And like what I ultimately got told was, listen, there's a ton of guys like you in the NBA. There's a bunch of 6'5" guys that can jump, guys that can dunk and shoot. Like there's a lot. There's not a lot of guys your size and like how athletic you are that play tight end. And I was like, okay, that's true. So kind of like honestly, that I would say at the end of my basketball season, probably the end of my basketball season, my junior year, I was like, okay, football is gonna have to be like the decision I make, which I was completely okay with. Like I didn't have any hesitation once I figured it out. But yeah, that was definitely like like I made a decision very late to play football, but it ended up working out.
Yeah, I was about to say, and how many times do you hear stories and situations where players are basketball or like the predominant sport is
Yeah,
basketball, even in college, and they'll roll out and
right,
said, hey, you know what, I'm just going to try out for football this year. And they wind up becoming absolute monster defensive ends or tight ends where that just
right,
is a consistent basis there.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, Jalen. I'll tell you. And again, like I know you kind of talked about it there. Sports broadcasting is important there for yourself. Again, if let's say even football does work out or doesn't work out, what do you want to do in that broadcasting or journalism type of role? Would you rather see yourself more as a writer or somebody who's like a game commentator?
Yeah,
Or just
honestly,
again,
yeah.
it's a wide field.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've always guys like Stuart Scott. Like I've always looked up to them. Like kind of like guys that are on the ESPN and like get to talk about what they love all day, every day. Even though they're not playing, like, I mean, they're still as enthusiastic about it on commentating or on ESPN as an analyst, like whatever. And I've always kind of been like, man, like I feel like I could do that. Like I've always been a guy that like got me a lot of people. So I'm like, oh, you're like really good on camera. Like you're like you talk and you're energetic and all that stuff. So kind of going into it, I was like, man, I was like, you know what, I'll do that. And like, I'd love to be an analyst, like be an analyst. If that doesn't work out, or if there's anything, I'd love to be a commentator too, or just like a guy that like works with a football program. Like if I came back to ASU, could be a commentator or like interview players, anything like that. Anything like that would be pretty cool to me. So
So it's more than, I guess, the media relations side. Then you would never want to
Mhm.
do anything like if you'd come back and be a coach in any capacity or anything like that. Because some
Oh,
players
well, I
always do have
definitely,
that in
yeah.
mind.
Oh, I definitely like if I had the opportunity, like I'd definitely go back and coach. Like if I could go back to my high school or go back to a high school and coach basketball or football, like I would definitely do that too. I mean, and just kind of like in the long run, like as is like I guess like I guess like 30 to 40 range, I would see myself being an ESPN or whatever, and then like going in and be like, okay, I'll coach something or I'll do this. Kind of just like I want to get established with whatever I'm gonna do first, and then kind of make a decision. But like I said, like yeah, like I've always been that person. Like, all right, if I tell myself, hey, I'm gonna go to the NFL, like or NBA, I'm gonna do it. So like that's my first goal. Like that's what I want to be able to do. But of course, you do have to have a backup plan. That's my backup plan. So
And they always say, it's not the grades you make in school that make you successful. It's more the hands you shake that go ahead and set those opportunities up for you. And being in a
right.
position where you are here, again, where you can go ahead and do that, always is good there for you, Jalen. Yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and bring you on, kind of get to know a little bit about you there, and kind of allow people that are Arizona State fans the ability to get to know you more as an actual individual and a person rather than just a player, just a number, just a guy out there they see on Saturdays on the film. Jalen, is there anything you wanted to kind of say before we kind of wrap things up? Is there anything that you wanted to go ahead and plug or anything that you important that you wanted to go ahead and mention out there to the audience?
Man, really just like I mean, be thankful for everything you got in life. I mean everything happens for a reason. I believe in everything. God has a plan for everybody, and I mean, even though like just speaking me personally, like even though I went to OU first and like that was my decision, like stuff changes. Stuff's gonna change in life, and you kind of sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches. Like I mean, saying like I mean I never expected to be the kid that transferred out of his freshman year, like his first year at college. And like like when I was even contemplating, I was like, is that really gonna be like my story? Like, and you just kind of got to make the best of every situation. Like you can either say, "Oh, I'm going to transfer and I'm going to be the kid that's going to transfer," or you can be the kid that transferred and like made a big name for himself and did it for a reason. So you kind of just, I mean, like I said, like stuff happens for a reason. You just got to roll the punches sometimes, no matter what. And I mean, for just anybody looking to go like play college ball or anything like that, I mean, bro, if you can't go D1, go D2. You can't go D2, go D3. If you can't go D3, go JUCO. I mean, because if you love the sport and you want to do it, like you'll do anything you possibly can to do it. Whether or not I could have made it D1 or D2, whatever, I would have been playing somewhere or doing something I love, regardless. So like for
And
me, just like go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, I was about to say, and you're going to notice too, like as you start to get towards the end there of the college, and as you're looking there for professionally, it's crazy. Again, like for the people who don't get drafted, day one, day two, or day three, conglomerate of people and individuals that are mixed. You'll run into kids from Clemson, you run into kids from Michigan, you run into small D2 kids. And when they're out there on the field, whether it's, NFL tryouts, invites to camp, or whether it's even CFL tryouts, you're going to see that there's not really much that distinguishes a lot of these players. Again, like certain ones, you're like, okay, that kid can play. He's going to get signed no matter
Yeah,
what. But for a lot
for
of them,
sure.
it really is not much that differentiates a lot of these guys out there. It's a dog eat dog out there, but you're right. Again, if you have that passion, you have that, you want to continue. Again, it doesn't matter where you're playing. They find talent where talent is.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah, and just work hard no matter what. I mean, like I said, if you want to go play, like just work hard, and if you have the talent, like they'll come find you. I mean, regardless. Like I mean, like I said, I was. If you don't know my story, I was from a town with 1,200 people in it, and I graduated with I want to say like 28, 29 people. And I knew everyone in the school. I knew every teacher. I knew every person. And I mean, the school was two hallways. It was the main hallway and the side hallway. So our football field looks like a pasture. So I mean, like and that's not knocking my own school. I'm just saying that's what it looks
That's
like.
just where you grew up. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong
that's
with
where
it.
I grew up. Like that's where I grew up, and I'm proud to say I'm from there. And I mean, someday, like I want to be able to be in the NFL and on the little bottom screen when they're announcing my name, it says Gruber, Texas under it. So, and everybody's gonna be that kid like, where the heck is that? No one's even heard of that. So, just work hard, pray every day, thank God every day for what you have, be thankful, and just God bless and works up always now. So.
All righty. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jalen.